the ghost of Mary Shelley lingers in our modern world, influencing our creations, while reminding us of the horror that unfolds when humanity isn't considered. Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, published in 1818, is more than a gothic horror story. It is a warning about unchecked ambition, misunderstood humanity, and the consequences of playing God. Shelley lived in an era that celebrated reason and scientific progress. While she believed in the power of intellect, she also foresaw the dangers of hubris. Her cautionary tale resonates with the Human Genome Project, a monumental effort to decode the building blocks of life. Like Frankenstein's experiment, this scientific feat promised enlightenment but raised profound ethical questions about creation, responsibility, and the unintended consequences of manipulating life. Launched in 1990 and completed in 2003, the Human Genome Project sought to map human DNA, offering breakthroughs in diagnosing genetic disorders and advancing personalized medicine. Yet, as with Victor Frankenstein's experiment, it also posed unsettling questions. What responsibilities come with such knowledge? What happens when science outpaces ethics? Technologies like CRISPR now allow us to sculpt genomes in ways Victor could only dream of. But what happens when our creations, designer babies, artificial life forms, outgrow our control? Will they, like Frankenstein's monster, face rejection and fear? Shelley's insight remains relevant. The act of creation is inseparable from the responsibility to nurture, guide, and understand. Victor's true failure wasn't his scientific ability, but his inability to face his creation as a sentient being. Similarly, modern scientific advancements, whether in genetics, artificial intelligence, or neuroscience, risk unleashing chaos if they disregard deeper human and ethical dimensions. Victor Frankenstein's mistake wasn't just playing God, it was misunderstanding life itself. He focused solely on electrical reanimation, ignoring magnetism, emotion, and interconnected forces. His creation was doomed not because it was unnatural, but because it was incomplete. Our bodies generate and respond to magnetic fields, and consciousness itself may be shaped by electromagnetic coherence, rather than just chemical interactions. This suggests that life is more than just a mechanical sequence of genetic codes. It is an interplay of fields, rhythms, and relationships. This brings us to Gabor Mate's exploration of trauma and addiction. Mate argues that addiction is not merely a choice or disease, but a response to deep-seated emotional pain. Trauma is not just an event. It is the lasting disruption of a person's ability to regulate emotions and form healthy attachments. Healing addiction, he suggests, requires addressing the underlying pain rather than just treating the behavior. Through this lens, Frankenstein can be read as a story of trauma and addiction. Victor's obsessive quest for creation and control mirrors addiction, a relentless pursuit despite destructive consequences. His creature, abandoned and rejected, experiences profound psychological trauma, mirroring the loneliness and alienation Mate associates with addiction. His violent outbursts reflect the response of a deeply wounded being, much like how unresolved trauma can manifest in destructive behaviors. Just as Frankenstein ignores the emotional and ethical dimensions of his experiment, modern society often prioritizes external technological progress over inner well-being. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR exemplify this tension. On one hand, they offer solutions to genetic diseases. On the other, they raise profound concerns about unintended consequences and the reduction of human suffering to a mechanistic problem. Mate critiques medical models that seek biological cures for issues rooted in social and emotional conditions. If addiction and trauma are shaped primarily by early life experiences and relational environments, then gene editing or AI-driven enhancements offer little real solution. In fact, they reinforce the illusion that suffering can be technologically corrected rather than healed through connection and understanding. Both Frankenstein and modern genetic engineering reflect humanity's temptation to bypass nature's inherent wisdom. Shelley's novel warns of the dangers of creation without responsibility. Mattei reminds us that true healing cannot come from technological intervention alone, but must involve emotional and relational restoration. If society continues to prioritize mechanistic solutions to complex human issues, whether through pharmaceuticals, genetic modification, or artificial intelligence, it risks deepening the very suffering it seeks to eliminate. Like Prometheus, we have stolen fire. Whether it illuminates or consumes us depends on whether we recognize that knowledge alone is not enough. The balance of ambition and responsibility, of science and humanity, determines whether our creations will serve us or destroy us. The question remains, are we seeking to heal or simply to control?